think it's really discipline. It's really like you do things naka-step by step siya. You don't take shortcuts. It's really embodied already na parang instilled in us na hard work is the way to go. Right? Simple, no? Ang sabi ko ang laking Binondo, iba yung lifestyle. Yung first 2 years ko, hindi naman ako binigyan ng kotse. So I have to commute, no? So ano yun? Jeep, bus, jeep.
You know, guys, if you've been tuning around and listening to our podcast, I hope that you get an absolute gold for each and every episode. But for this one, this person, I've been following him for years because also in my field, some marketing, and he's done so many great things and so many great milestones for the brands that he handled and he's been involved. Now, just to mention a couple of positions that he had, he was the former Vice President for Marketing of Philippine Daily Inquirer. He's also the former Chief Digital Officer of ABS-CBN Corporation. He's also the founder of Internet and Mobile Marketing Association of the Philippines and the current President and Chief Operating Officer of Dito CME. Please welcome, round of applause, everyone, for Mr. Donald Lim. Sir, thank you for accepting our invite.
Thank you for having me, David.
Yes. So, we've been, discussing everything about leadership, about, business. And for you, kasi, syempre, I did a bit of my research then about what you do. But I want to start sana with how you began your journey in your career, in your personal life, also maybe probably the humble beginnings. Paano nag-start po kayo sa buhay?
Wow, layo na nun.
Doon muna tayo magsimula.
So, I grew up in Manila. So, that's why JCI Manila is very close to me. This is my home base. I live 5 minutes from the clubhouse.
Oh, wow.
Right? So, but I grew up in Divisoria, I grew up in Binondo. So my parents that time, my father was a distributor of lighting products. So, literally, we grew up in our house, but yung ilalim nun, nandun yung office, no? And then, katabi mo na yung mga bodega namin, no? So, and of course, early on, talagang you learn the trade immediately, no? So, yung, alam mo na kaagad na, even when 10 years ago, okay, I want to be a businessman. Parang ganun na kaagad yun eh. And at the same time, because my mom was extremely strict with us, talagang aral lang, hindi ka pwede manood ng TV, hindi ka pwede maglaro. So, talagang aral, and then, you help out with the business na. So, minsan, pupunta kami sa bodega, sasama kami, ano yung mailalabas na mga boxes of ikaw magbibilang, right? So I think very early on, elementary days pa, that was instilled in us already na we have to work, right? Day in, day out, no? And we contribute to the family. So that time, talagang until maybe nung high school and college, mas talagang lumayo na in a way because I went to Ateneo and talagang nag-aaral na, no? Wala nang time mag-help out, no? But the earlier days was really helping out in the office because nandun na yung bahay right? So pag uwi mo, kita mo kagad, nagtatrabaho parents mo. So kahit paano, kilala mo yung mga kargador, lahat ng mga driver, lahat, no? Everything is one. Walang delineation.
So para po to, no? Like yung typical na pagkatapos ng school, tulong sa negosyo.
Yeah, tulong sa negosyo, yes. So magbibilang, my mom would help already, ask us to help magbilang. Minsan nga binibilang namin mga pako Isa-isa, mga ganun, no? So, pako, screw, kasi nga hardware wholesale pero hardware, no?
Okay, so paano to? Like, yung training ninyo as bata, parang ano yung naalala nyo na talagang in-instill sa inyo at a very young age? Like, ano to, resiliency ba to?
I think it's really discipline. It's really like you do things, naka-step by step siya. You don't take shortcuts. It's really embodied already na parang instilled in us na hard work is the way to go, right? So you don't take shortcuts, you don't take na okay pag may easier route kunin natin to, hindi siya ganun right? And it's always treating people well also kasi in a small company, although malaki yung business ng dad ko, it's all about also living a very simple life. So even if that time he was one of the biggest distributors of GE and Philips lighting products, nakasando lang siya talaga everyday, nakatsinelas lang. So when the president of GE came, I still remember, tinanong niya sa dad niya, where's your boss? Right? Kasi di niya alam, di man niya nila alam na, okay, I'm the owner pala. No? Sinabi ng dad ko. So it's really about simple, no? Ang sabi ko ang laking Binondo iba yung lifestyle. There are many kinds of what I call Chinese. Even before in marketing we profile. There's a Binondo Chinese and a Green Hills Chinese. Iba ang training nun.
Okay.
Iba ang discipline, ibang learning. Not to discriminate nor say anything good nor bad, no? But iba lang. Right?
What do you think is the difference? Kasi syempre, I'm a full Filipino, pero nakikita talaga yung difference of how Chinese Filipinos do business. Pero what's the root of that?
Kasi nasa ano na yun automatic na even yung for example, if you help out, talaga may sweldo ako. Piso-piso lang yung sweldo that time Pero may alikansya ako, tinatrain na talaga ako. Okay, ito na yung na-earn mo for itong year na to, naka 600 ka. Alam mo yun, after 1 year of working, even sa kusina, natuto rin kami, my mom would always ask me, kasi we only have one maid, a lot of, halo-halo may mga kargador, lahat, nagkakagulo-gulo buong bahay, no? Pero imagine mo, sabi ko, imagine that my dad was one of the biggest distributors, and yet, very simple yung life, no? And wala siyang, we don't get to compare, ano mas magandang kotse, as long as we go abroad once in a while, no? And then lagi yun, economy class lang. And again, everything is everything that you receive is something you have to work for.
Right.
So and that's why I think that is inculcated na early on, which is I think a bit different from the next generation The youth of today parang mas entitled. I need this, diba? Yun ang ina-expect, no? Pero sa amin, it was very different. Everything has to be earned.
Okay. But, diba, so you started doon sa business ninyo and then until nung college, focus kayo sa studies. Pero during nung time na nag-aaral ka na sa Ateneo, did you start any side hustle para ma-practice yung...
Hindi, kasi nahirapan ako. So, even during... Kasi, number one, since I live in Binondo, Ateneo is 2 hours away. No? So, imagine mo, every day, it's 4 hours.
Wow.
Right? And that time, also, yung first 2 years ko, hindi naman ako binigyan ng kotse. So, I have to commute. No? So, ano yun? Jeep, bus, jeep. Right?
Papunta pa lang.
Papunta pabalik. Right? So kaya master ko rin yung no? Like, Ateneo to UP to Philcoa bus ako.
Yeah.
Quiapo to Pier to ganyan. So, even up to now, kahit pa paano, master ko yun. So, anytime na kailangan ko mag-commute, it's very easy for me to jump up and down wherever. No? So, I know certain routes, no? And that's why, pag uwi ko, knock out na ako. Kasi babiyahe ka pa no?
Yeah.
Ito, laki-laki ko pa. So, imagine mo, nung nag-jeep ako, ayoko sa loob. Gusto ko nasa labas lang. Pero may init sa loob
Bawal yung upong boss sa inyo. No?
So talagang pag nakaganoon ako, di na makapasok lahat. Pero knockout ako, tulog ako for 1 hour. Yung longest ride was 1 hour. So I mean, that's something na I never complained because I felt my parents also experienced that one way or the other. Right? And also, di ako nag-side hustle only because hirap ako. When top student ako sa Hope Christian, no, Chinese school.
Yeah, sa Bangbang.
Malapit doon, no, yung Chinese University.
Yeah.
When I went to Ateneo, nga ako doon. So, bagsak ako sa math, sa English, kala ko magaling na ako. So, talagang hardcore. I have to, nasa live na ako, doon ako natutulog, doon ako nag-aaral.
Okay.
So, it was really that, no? And then I realized also, nung 3rd year, 4th year na kami, but that was 97 and 98 financial crisis So that time talagang nakita namin, wala masyadong work when we graduated. So it was really the time na instead of maghanap ako ng work, gaining experience, nag-aral pa ako.
Okay.
So on the side, I did that time, since wala pang internet noon, correspondence, we call it correspondence schools. So nag-aral ako ng HRM, hotel restaurant, executive management, ano ba?
Mga short courses,
interior design, kung ano-ano. Pero ano yun? They will send you the book or the binder, aaralin mo, may exam sa dulo, sagutin mo, then may mail mo. Pupunta ka sa post office.
Oh, okay.
Sa Jones Bridge. Yun, memorize ko ang post office. Reverse na sunog. Kasi doon ako nagme-mail.
Okay.
Tapos they will after a few weeks babalik 'yon. Naka-grade na siya. So very crude, no?
Okay.
Pero that time sabi ko, since mababa grades ko, kailangan ko tapalan ng
additional
iba pang
skills.
Original skills.
Okay. So paano 'yun kasi probably yung discipline kasi not a lot of people have that kind of appetite na ako pagkatapos ko mag-aral, I still need to learn a lot, 'di ba? Kasi parang education is a continuous process naman Pero aside from the awareness of struggle of looking for a job, what was your parang driving passion to really try different things? Were you looking for your core why also, or just for the sake of getting job?
That time di pa ako marunong sa ganun eh. So the first time when yung pag-graduate, nung naghanap ka ng trabaho, yung wala kang mahanap, sobrang pressured ka. Kasi ayoko bumalik sa Binondo eh. So what I wanted was the agreement with my dad who sabi niya, when you graduate, work outside, learn outside, then come back after. Right? So ayoko pag wala akong mahanap, biglang pupunta na lang ako doon na wala akong bit-bit na extra kaalaman. Right? So I was very determined to find a job somewhere. So I still remember, I was talking about this 20 years ago, nung nasa Inquirer ako. Nag-photocopy ako ng resume, 100 pieces, eksakto, 1 ream that time. And then, naglakad lang ako sa Ayala, naglakad ako sa Buendia, tumingin lang ako, okay, ito, parang familiar tong company. Guard, pwede pabigay sa HR. Ganun lang. Ubos ang 100 resumes ko. Right? In a span of around 2 weeks, in-out ko. And that time, ang tumawag sa akin, dalawa lang yata tumawag sa akin. One was, Encyclopedia Britannica.
Okay.
Pinapabenta ako ng encyclopedia.
May collection pa kami papa ko sa bahay nun. Britannica yan.
Ang sales, dapat sales ako ng encyclopedia. Sabi ko, ano ba to? Parang weird naman. So, di ko muna kinuha. Pero that time, sinabi, pag magaling ka na benta, marami ka na benta, you will be able to get a lot of commission, you'll be rich, medyo ganun. Yun yung unang-unang parang multi-level eh. But another was the one who eventually I accepted the offer was Burger King.
Okay.
So, Burger King was my first job. Ang sabi niya, train ka sa kitchen. That time, bagong-bago ang Burger King eh. Free refill, big burgers. No? Sabi ko, mukhang okay ito ah. And that time, it came handy na yung hotel and restaurant management ko.
Okay.
Kasi may extra akong HRM, di ba? So sabi nga, sige, mukhang hindi lang, kasi I was management and marketing.
Okay.
And then I have yung Ateneo. And yung HRM, may extra skills na ako at kaalaman, right? So I said, maybe I can serve the kitchen well. So I accepted the Burger King job. And that time, my boss was a very great mentor. Talagang tinuruan niya ako, no? And 6 months ako nasa store. So I started in Robinson's Galleria. And then, dinispatch ako dito, mas malapit sa UN Avenue. Burger King UN. Wala na siya ngayon eh. Right? So, but that time, it was near to me, but ako yung night shift lagi. Kasi they need more males. Male managers. Para night shift, no? 5 ang pasok ko. 3 ang uwi ko AM.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So wala pang BPO noon. So parang
bago yung mga night shift.
Parang night shift at gano'n, di ba? Yung baliktad yung oras. But again, it was really that was also, again, reminding me na if you want to really become good in business, you have to learn the basics talaga.
Yes.
So that time, I was saying I want to be marketing. But sabi niya, okay, gusto mo maging magaling sa marketing? Punta ka muna sa operations. Intindihin mo muna lahat. Right? So talagang umikot muna ako doon hanggang magkahera, magluto ng burger. So even up to now, memorize ko pa rin. Even a Whopper, alam ko pa rin. 21 grams mayo, 14 grams lettuce, 9 grams ketchup, 4 pickles.
Alam niyo, yung mga kinain natin kanina.
Memorize ko lahat yun. So I used to do how many Whoppers a day? 50? Mga ganun. So griller, isa kong niluluto, mag-assemble, disassemble. So, and you bring that eh. So when you're now in marketing, you begin to, okay, pag gagawa ka ng product, magagawa ka ng promotion, maisip mo kagad configuration ng lahat ng kitchen, magbabanggaan ba ang crew, kasya, okay, kasya. May isip mo lahat yun. Gagawa ka ng promo, okay, pwede. Kaya ba ng, dati, pag di ka marunong mag-promo, gumawa ka ng promo, murang Sunday cone. Kung alam mo ang operations, alam mo na hindi kakayanin ang demand kasi Sunday cone needs time bago tumigas. So things like that. Right? So that's why I said, you have to learn and then to become a good marketing, you have to understand the real groundwork.
Yes, right? Yes, I agree. Kasi, syempre, sir, na parang ako din, as a marketing person, parang, it's not just about learning people, learning the psychographic of people, but if you create something, will the business be able to handle if the campaign works really well, no? Parang based dun po sa sinasabi ninyo na you're very well versed kasi you don't just think of marketing or bringing customers or clients eh. Now, dito kasi, okay, if sa States meron David Ogilvy as the father of modern advertising, dito sa Philippines, Mr. Donald Lim is very known as the father of digital marketing here in the Philippines, no? And you've pioneered a lot of initiative. During your time sa ABS-CBN as the Chief Digital Officer, you spearheaded the digitization of ABS-CBN from being a very traditional business model. How was it like?
It's very hard, no? In fact, I think when you look at my jump to digital, I think our generation, we're the ones who transitioned kasi from what we call the industrial revolution to the digital. Kami yung last batch
Yeah.
na gumanon, right? Na na-experience yung dalawang age na yon,
Mhm.
right? And that's why kami yung I don't know if yung na-experience mo, all the way from cassette tapes, Betamax,
Yes.
VHS,
Biscuits.
all the way to diskettes, diba? So 5.5, 3 1/4, and
Yes.
everything. And CD-ROM, right? But kami yung transition. Kami yung literally from encyclopedia to CD-ROM,
Right.
right? So and that's why I think we were, if you look at those who were in the digital space, yung right now who's really running a lot of tech companies, kami yun. Kasi the discipline of the past and how things are done, and also kahit pa paano, a good understanding of digital, which is the future. That time I was head of marketing of the Inquirer. Then biglang may tumawag. Ang sabi, gusto mo maging CEO? Sabi ko, anong CEO? Parang okay yan ah. Right? And I was like 28. Sabi ko, anong company? Ayaw pa sabihin nung una.
Okay.
So nung nag-interview na, ano na yun, 15-man board. Kasi nga, CEO ka eh. So you report to the board. And that company was Yehey.com. So it was a spoof of Yahoo created by 5 students. So that time, sabi ko, parang, ba't ako lilipat? Sa Inquirer, ang powerful ko nun. Head na ako ng marketing. Bigla pupunta ka sa company na bankrupt. Right? It's bankrupt, and wala akong alam sa digital. Dyaryo ako eh. Biglang pupunta ako sa digital, di ba? But I said, if digital is the future, I have to learn it.
Yeah.
So, talagang tumalo na lang ako. Sabi ko, kung magkamali man ako, at least that time, I was younger, I can make mistakes.
Yes.
So, when I jumped in, doon ko nakita ang hirap. I ran it so bad. And not many people know this, no? But I can, because I'm older now, I don't mind telling people, after 5 years, they fired me. Right? But of course, on record, they don't know. Kasi that time, swerte naman ako, Macan offered me a job.
Macan
right
Erickson.
after Macan Erickson
Yes.
that time. And I headed MRM. Doon naman, lahat ng mga mali, lahat ng mga di ko maintindihan, gets ko na. Kaya when I transitioned to MRM Manila, which is owned by Macan, we were the agency of the year for 5 years. I handled Coke. I handled almost every brand.
Okay.
Right? And then later on, after 3.5 years in Macan, sabi ni Gabby Lopez, Charo Santos that time, tulungan mo nga kami kasi we need to digitize also ABS. And bit ko na yung understanding of the brands, the market, how to do digital, everything. Pagdating naman sa ABS, it was a digital business, a digital media business. How do you make media earn money in digital? Kasi that time it was a bit of ang mga business when you say digital is Amazon,
Yes.
right? So mga
yes.
retail, or maging Facebook ka, which is social media. So kung ABS ka, paano ka kikita sa digital? So we had to go through an entire transformation process. In fact, a lot of people don't like me in ABS in the first 2 years. A lot of people didn't talk to me. Because when I go in, I said, eto gawin natin. Sabi, wag mo kaming galawin. Maganda negosyo namin.
Right.
TV, radio, publication, lahat number 1 eh. Star Cinema, Star Music, lahat number 1. So when I came in and said, mag-digital tayo, parang, anong ginagawa mo?
Right.
Right? Hawakan mo na lang Facebook namin.
Okay.
Hawakan mo na lang website namin. Gawin mo website. So sabi ko, hindi ako dito para maging website manager or social media manager.
Yeah.
And I think yun eh. That we started to change the culture. We have to, unti-unti, no? And I have to credit the leadership of ABS kasi they had, may foresight talaga. May foresight talaga. They call it the second curve, no? Which is, the first curve of business is what made you to where you are right now, to your level of success. The second curve, in a way, is what will bring you to the success next many years down the line. And sometimes it might compete with the current.
With the correct.
So, syempre, that time, when you talk about digital, kasi ang labanan pa rin, advertising eh. So, pag kukuha ng ads, saan kukuha ng ads? Sa TV, lalagay mo sa digital. Di ba? So, parang kinalaban mo sarili mo.
Yes.
But you have to train the market, you have to train the brand managers and the vice presidents of marketing and the CEOs, everything. And also, how do you make it a business? So, ibang-iba siya. One of my projects was, for example, the Adobe Studios. No? So, that time, I handled 800 YouTube creators.
Okay.
Right? YouTube creators. So, that time, ang agreement natin with them was, rev share tayo ha. Gawa ka ng content, I'll handle you. I'll also market you. Pag kumita tayong lahat, hati tayo. That time, parang ang ABS, parang, ang weird niyan, ayoko yan. Kasi ang ABS is, lahat ng artista, contract tayo, bayaran kita. Akin ka. Dito, I made everyone a business partner.
Yeah.
Which is a bit,
Counterintuitive
counterintuitive siya na, hindi, that's not the way we do it. But sabi ko, that's digital. You empower everyone.
Yes.
Right? And that's why we were able to get to so many 800 YouTubers. Bigla
Yeah.
ganun. Kaya nga fast forward, when I left ABS, I was able to set up my second org, which is CICP, Creators and Influencers Council.
Yes.
Kasi biglang lahat sila, nung nawala ako, parang, paano na kami? Sabi ko, set up tayo council. Para alalayan ko pa rin kayo, right?
Yeah.
But that time, because by virtue of ABS strength in terms of creating content, the Facebook account, the YouTube accounts, Instagram, lahat yun, puro 50 million, mga ganun na level. Kumikita na talaga siya on its own. No? And we have to create what we call digital architecture.
Yeah.
Kasi that time, for example, meron kaming The Voice, meron kaming PBB. So, kanya-kanyang gawa. So, kunwari, itong director, gawa tayo Facebook para mag-promote tayo. Next, PBB 2 naman, sasabihin ng isa, bagong director, bagong producer, sabihin, gawa ulit tayo. So, ang daming PBB.
Yeah.
Sampo nandun. Yung The Voice, madami. Lahat kanya-kanyang gawa. So, we created what is called a governance system. May architecture. Pag The Voice, isa lang. Wala akong pakialam kung The Voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, The Voice. So, we build that traffic all the way. Doon na umiikot. Habang through the years, dumadami. Hindi mo kinakalat. Pati yung website, dati abs7.com, abs7news.com, ang daming website. Sabi ko, isang website lang. Right? So, lahat ng traffic pumunta doon. Naging number 1 ng ABS.
Yes.
Right? So that time, it was really the discipline, creating the governance, the rules. Parang sinasabi, ang higpit mo naman. Pero hindi eh. Sabi ko, next time, lahat ng gagawa ng website, social media, kailangan may pirma namin. So kung ang pirma, hindi ka pwede gumawa.
Right.
And again, we're lucky na si Charo Santos that time. Sabi, okay, sundin nyo lang siya. Kahit hindi ko naintindihan, sundin nyo lang.
Okay.
Right? And again, that's why we were able to, nung nawala yung franchise, nawala. Next day, di na pwede flip, lahat nasa digital na.
Digital na.
Wala kang, kahit pa paano.
Yeah,
diba?
like just imagine if wala yung
Imagine mo
pioneering.
pag wala. Ang hirap nun.
Pero were you creating a demand during that time? Kasi yung ibang network, hindi sila ganun.
Actually, you're educating the market, that's one. Second, you're preparing for the future because the demand, what I always say in marketing, ang demand mahirap i-create eh. But you have to accept the fact that the next generation will be very digital. So you're creating something para pagpasok nila, nandun na.
Yes.
Right? So that's why I always say, no, even in when I teach strategy is planning for the future. So you do not look at the conditions today and tomorrow and say, let's plan for that. You actually look at the conditions, what you think is 5 years from now, and let's prepare all the way towards that. Right? So it's really forward-looking, future-looking. So when we talk about strategy, many people I see, when I do planning sessions for companies, they would always say planning for next year. Right? When you plan for next year, sabi ko, walang ganon. When you plan for next year, parang business as usual lang yan eh. Then after, dagdagan mo na konti. Strategy is always, I always say, it's planning 5 years down the line. And 5 years from now. So if you plan 5 years from now, you have to be able to agree, all of you in management, you have to agree what is the future 5 years from now. And you work your way towards that. Right? So that time when we were in ABS, we realized everyone will be digital. Whether there is, hindi na masyado pag-usapan, marirenew ba yung franchise or hindi. But you know for a fact that your consumer base will go digital. So having said that, we also know, and again, I don't even have to have a crystal ball. We know all the global trends are saying already. Alam naman natin na lahat magiging ang main screen is the mobile phone.
Right.
So even when you create content, sinasabi nga, hindi na pa ganyan.
Dapat vertical na.
Diba? Yung TikTok mataas, right? So, I mean, simple discipline at that. Pero kung nasanay ka sa landscape, mahirapan ka mag-portrait. I mean, all of that. No? So again, very simple things matter, but at the same time, strategy is always about planning for a farther future rather than next year.
So, dyan kasi di ba, marketing is a very fast-changing landscape talaga eh. How do you parang get updated doon sa mga changes na ginagawa? Do you employ or do you group a very wise set of people that can help you get updated with things? How does it work on your own process?
For me, marketing is really the most important role in the organization. What I call, ikaw ang pulso eh. Which means, because why? You know where the world is going. You also have to know where your consumers, your customers are moving towards, right? And the only way for you to do that is not to read a lot of research paper, but to be on ground. So I always believe that you have to be in touch with your customers. What I learned from ABS-CBN, bakit bakit lagi patok ang gaganda ng mga shows? Probinsyano, Batang I mean, lahat, every show, no? Kuha niya pulso.
Yeah.
And that is when I realized, no? Meron kami tinatawag na si Vivian Tin that time, no? Head ng research, tawag ng Oracle, eh. Sabi, ang galing mo naman. Sabi, hindi naman. Every day kasi, every week, nag-FGD lang ako. Tanong lang ako ng tanong, anong hinaing ng tao, anong hinahanap nila, anong aspiration nila, ano yung mga, what are they looking for, what are their needs, di ba? And I think, once you keep that, you make that as a discipline, you begin to be closer to people, and that is the only way you can really, you'll be able to address what they really want. Ganun din naman sa lahat ng negosyo, eh. If you understand your market well enough, then you would know that whatever you're offering will fit them. No amount of research on paper will guide you through that, rather than you being on ground. Alam natin mga kwento yan. Kahit na sila Henry Sian or whoever, di ba? Lahat ng mga tycoons, I don't think, the first generation tycoons, I don't think they built their empire because they were in the office.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, very important nga yun, for non-marketers. It's, kung gusto nyo malalaman, may tinatawag tayong product market fit. Kaya pag sinasabi natin product market fit, it's not about assuming na ito yung gusto ng mga tao. It's a matter of talking directly to your customers, knowing their pain point, their internal and external challenges. And from there, doon natin may improve yung direction, di ba? Kung ano yung dapat natin gawin, ano yung pwede natin sabihin for the next strategies or next action items. Now, yes, I completely agree with that. Ngayon, pagdating naman sa leadership direction mo, kasi yung mga sinabi mo kanina na, okay, kung dito sila, dito tayo. Your strategy and way of thinking is a bit unorthodox, which turns out to be very good, nagkaroon ng magandang outcome. How do you make sure that everyone sees the common goal?
That's why, the role of, maybe in marketing and of course of leadership, you have to understand that a prophet is never appreciated nor recognized in their own country. That's why alam mo, pag prophet, di ba, paulit-ulit ka hanggang makuha nila. If you decide to take that role as a leader and as a prophet, a leader is someone na ikaw ang nag 10 steps ahead before you turn back and say, guys, sunod kayo. Kasi na-check mo na lahat. And in many cases, many people say, ba't yung ginagawa mo dyan? Nandito kaming lahat. So you have to really educate one at a time, everyone else. And then later on convince them, tama ka pala. Because you were there already.
Right.
So I think it takes a lot of courage. It also takes a lot of humility. Kasi kung nandun ka na, pwede ka naman na iwan mo sila Right? But here, you know that if you have your flock or whoever is in your team, you have to bring them with you. So kaya when you talk about leadership, it's always about the vision. Right? It's always the vision, the purpose. Why, what do you see and why are you doing it? Right? And it's always anchored on something that is good. No? So whether it's a company or any organization, it's always, when you talk about leadership cannot be nasa likod. Leadership is always ahead. Ito ang plano ko. Ito ang nakikita ko, and this is what I'm seeing. This is why we should go there. And you have to convince everyone who does not see that yet.
Yeah. Right? Parang yung bell curve, no? Diba? Meron tayong early adapters, meron tayong may innovators. May mga laggers tayo.
JCI Manila also champions diversity and inclusion with its projects like Wheel Assist, a partnership with the Light Rail Transit Authority that's aimed at improving the commuting experience for persons with disabilities on LRT2. The project includes training LRTA customer-facing staff on how to handle and engage with PWDs, as well as installing Braille stickers at ticket vending machines to aid visually impaired passengers. To know more, visit our website at www.jcimanila.org. Now back to the podcast.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, Ugreen Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.
Kasi you mentioned nung hindi nagro-roll yung camera, you're also teaching, Sir Donald, sa Enderan and sa San Beda. What's your approach in influencing these students na makita nila kung ano yung reality of theory versus ito yung real world mismo?
Well, to answer that question, actually, I'll go back to first my motivation of teaching. Kasi mahirap magturo Imagine that when I've been teaching for 14 years. And it's very hard because I usually get the 6 to 9 class. So, which means after a whole day's work, you have to talk for 3 hours pa.
Yeah.
Right? And again, kung if it's once or twice, it's fine. But you do it every twice a week, right? And then it's going to tire you out. But then you begin to realize that the more you talk, number one, the more you teach kasi, the more whatever you're saying gets ingrained in you, right? Lumalalim yung understanding because you keep talking about it. Second, like what I've said, you talk to the market. I do not see them just as my student, but also they are my potential market. And the third is I see them eventually, they are my teachers. Because sometimes I do not know everything. When I teach digital, it's not as if I know a lot, right? I teach my experiences, right? But then I would always say, ano ang sayo? What is your experience? Can you share that with the class? And we build on top of everyone's experiences. So for me, it's such a win-win. No? In fact, I would advocate, I even tell my team, kung may chance kayo magturo kayo. Because then I know for a fact, mas holistic ka. Iba kasi ang teaching is a very humbling experience. You can take it na magpa-power trip ka sa class, okay lang. Pero right now hindi na Because very powerful ang students ngayon because of social media, because of check and balance system within schools and many others, no. But again, it's really a learning experience. That's why I said before, I started the very first digital marketing curriculum, the syllabus, to teach digital marketing. Imagine mo, I sat in the technical panel of CHED to introduce, to put digital marketing in the syllabus. Right? Ano pa yun? Memorize ko pa, CMO 29 yun. So to create that. And when I started teaching in 2010, I taught, no? And then in 2019, I told my class, you are my last class because I have nothing more to teach. All of you are more digital than I am. Right? So if anything I teach is actually backwards, meaning my experience before, kasi nung ginawa namin to, paatras So I said, I have nothing else to teach to you, right? And that time, digital marketing, there's no more digital marketing. Marketing is digital. There's no digital strategy. When you teach drama, you put in digital already there.
Yes.
Right? So hindi na siya standalone. Naka-integrate na siya.
Yeah. And you're also like, di ba, nadoon na kayo, medyo you're on the sunset na sa digital marketing, and you were mentioning na you're already dun sa ABCs.
Yes.
So can you share yung ABCs mo?
So when I when people said na I mean, so many articles they wrote about me, digital guru, sabi ko hindi na. I know for a fact I'm not. Right? So number one, I'm not a technical person. I'm just a manager, right? Maybe I'm a digital leader because I have certain way of thinking, no? But digital marketing, wala na no? Ano ba yung matuturo mo sa Facebook, sa Twitter, sa Instagram, sa TikTok, right? And then I begin to realize, that's why I said I retired from digital marketing, and I saw 3 other opportunities right now in this new space, which is from Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3. Web 1 is websites, Web 2 is social media. Ngayon, Web 3 tayo. Web 3 is now what you call the world of blockchain. And blockchain meaning the base layer. AI is the layer that makes it faster. And cybersecurity is the defense layer. Ganun yung takbo. So what I call ABC, AI, blockchain, cybersecurity. And because of that, I had to start learning. In a way, nakatulong, no? The pandemic was very helpful because that was when I really started. I went in, I did it the regular way of how we do things. We started to study. So I took up a certified blockchain expert course. I took up cybersecurity. I took up AI courses. Lahat inaral ko na inaral. I ended up with more than 10 certificates, certifications on all of these. So I can speak. Di ko nga magets that time. I can't even, no? If 2 years ago, I cannot. Now I can speak very confidently about them, no? Because I studied, I talked about it, and later on I interacted with people. I started doing businesses on these 3 domains also, right? So sabi ko, this is the new space, and I think my rallying cry before was with marketing people. Lahat ng marketing people mag-digital kayo. Now that I'm in this situation where because I'm now running a company, to my peers naman, all the leaders of the Philippines, the organizations and companies, matuto dapat tayo. How do you harness AI? How do you harness and use cybersecurity to protect yourself? Right? How do you use blockchain to make sure na hindi basta ma-penetrate yung system mo kasi nga decentralized siya. So I'm now taking it on today na I want to educate now my peers in the industry, in the organizations, to understand these three.
So how do you see the AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity being embraced dito sa country natin in the next 5 years? Because yes, AI, nagkakaroon na marami na nag-a-adapt, like companies, startups, agencies, nag-a-adapt na yan. There's thousands of AI tools na, diba, that's accessible for everyone. But in terms of blockchain, na medyo niched pa siya, and also cybersecurity, where do you think is the positioning where everyone can utilize it at the maximum capacity?
Right now, sabi ko, no, even AI, no, the past year, all my talks, wala na ako Digital Mar zero. Everyone is now asking me to talk about AI. And what was very interesting was if I ask a group of CEOs, 100 CEOs, how many of you are using AI already? 90% raise their hands. Then I asked, how many of you are using AI but not ChatGPT? Wala na. Right? So they associate using AI with ChatGPT and nothing else. The same way, magaling na ako sa digital kasi may Facebook account ako. Right? Which is not the case, right? AI is very niche, targeted, and a vertical. Meaning there's no such thing as I'm an expert in AI. In fact, may AI, when we talk about AI for a banking solution. Not even for banking, for a banking solution, for an insurance solution, a security solution, ganun siya. So there's no, I'm a master of AI. Maybe you can have a good academic understanding of AI, right? The Turing test, you understand the bandit algorithm, all of this, right? But to make it really as integral part of the company, helping you make your operations faster or helping you get more customers. There is a specific AI technology for that. So there's no AI for the entire org, right? And what was, 3 weeks ago, I had a global AI council. So I'm the president of the global AI council. And we had what we call State of the Nation in AI. And in my talk, I said, we are in a very scary time right now. If you look at during the financial crisis, I graduated financial crisis, 97, 98, year 2000, biglang, okay, new start for everyone. And totoo, sa Philippines, new start tayo. And there are 3 countries in ASEAN na talagang touted as, okay, ito yung rising tiger na talaga ngayon, VIP, right? Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines. But, and that time, we were riding the wave of BPO. Kasi that time yung BPO biglang lumaki, lahat ng dollars pumapasok sa Pilipinas kasi we're doing their support services. So may pera kahit paano ang Pilipinas. OFW, BPO. Yan ang dalawang pillars ng economy natin. Right? And so we rode on that. But if you look at today, 2000 yun eh. Fast forward 2025, nasaan na tayo? Right? So a bit of BPO, a bit of OFW nandun pa rin, right? Pero have we really pivoted and have we really changed? If AI comes in, you will realize that the 2 million BPO agents, baka ma-wipe out lahat yun. Kasi wala na. Lahat ng text niya, sabi, hindi yan. Hindi nga eh. Have you listened to all of these suppliers presenting? You do not need to hire 1,000 people. My entire system, you only need one person. Lahat naman yun eh. Right? So any mechanical work, will be replaced by AI. So what happens is that dapat all of our BPO agents should be upskilled to a higher level. Hindi na pwede taga-sagot lang, taga-check. Wala na yun eh. Right? Same also with our OFWs. Later on, maybe not today, but later on, lahat ng mga mechanical work ng mga OFWs, you will see that in 2030. Kaya nga sabi ko strategy eh. When you look 5 years down the line, the robotics, driverless cars, everything in the home you can talk to an appliance in the home. Lahat pwedeng open, lahat pwedeng malinis. So the robotics will change everything also. So AI will be a killer for the Philippines. And if you look at the Philippines, they would always say, very proudly that Filipinos were the tech capital of the world in year 2000. In 2010, we're the social media capital of the world. But I always say there's no pride in that because we're just users of technology, right? And that's why I think the mandate, especially right now, 2025 moving forward, is how do we transform our land of digital users to become a nation of digital leaders and influencers. We have to start building, not using. And because of that, we need to work together with government. Right? What I call a whole-of-nation approach. The government, the private sector, the academe, lahat yan working hand in hand. And that is why it's very important. When I talked 2 weeks ago, I was in Cebu. I was addressing the Cebu Chamber. Sabi ko rin naman, maraming complaints sa government. But sabi ko, that's why we're at the private sector. The government is there to regulate. The business, we would have to be the ones also trying to make change rather than complaining that our government has been doing this or is not supporting us, right? as business people, we roll with the punches. Whatever are the givens, syempre, we will navigate given what are the conditions and what are the boundaries, right? But I think we have to take a very serious look moving forward. Because with AI coming in, with robotics, with all of this, these are parang, don't underestimate na malayo pa sila. Once they came in, biglang, ano yan what I call tsunami yan Pag pumasok na, at naging ganun na yung wave, biglang paggising mo, wala na. Right? And sabi ko nga, if the real suppliers of all of these tech come in, and they would now tell every, let's say, mga BPO groups na, oh, we can, you don't have to hire 1,000. I just hire 5 people who will use this tech. Saan mo kukuha yung mga 1,000 people? Right? And you will see that multiplying very, very quickly. The same way that BPO nag-mushroom. Ganon din mangyari sa mga OFWs if we do not upskill. So there's a chance. We have to upskill so that we became not only just not only using mechanical work, but now taking advantage of AI. How do we create AI? Malayo pa tayo doon. We're not India, we're not China, we're not the US, we're not creators of technology. I think that's why we need a paradigm shift as a country.
Okay, yeah. I strongly agree with that because AI is such an open-ended conversation. Like sinabi ko nga, thinking how the first iPhone was back in 2007 and seeing iPhone 16 Pro Max right now, di ba? Grabe yung innovation. So, eto, what do you think is your recommendation on how the company, sabihin na natin mga SMEs lang muna, can adapt to these technologies? Like starting off with AI lang muna kasi baka overwhelming sa kanila. Do I need to invest in such a expensive software or tools? Paano sila mag-a-adapt sa mga ganito?
Right now for me, actually they're very lucky because that time, in the earlier days, 25 years ago, when you start a business, everything is mano-mano. In fact, if you look at my fathers, they nakapapel lahat Naka-scotch paper nga. You can transact based on that, no? Right now, you can already see, no? You can, when I talk to SMEs, you can create a jingle, you can create a logo, you can create a marketing material, an AVP, anything marketing using AI already, right? So I think that's one. From a marketing and sales side, you can do everything yourself. Second, you can also look at your operations. How can you use technology to make sure your operations are more efficient? But what I always say, whenever I talk to business people, do not look at technology as the holy grail. Mahina negosyo ko, I will use AI. Hindi siya ganon. Always make sure that your basics, yung fundamentals, you're doing it correctly. Do you understand your customers' needs? Are you getting the best materials for them? Are you getting yung tama ba yung costing mo? Tama ba yung operational? Is your finance sound? Many cases, you sabit yun, di mo ginagawa ng maayos, then bigla, technology will help me. Mali yun. Technology is an enabler and an amplifier. So kung mali ka, amplified yung lahat ng mali mo.
That's
right. So minsan sabi, hindi, pag may di mabenta, mag-TikTok na ako, lahat gawin. So dumami nga yung benta. Pero mali yung produkto, hindi maayos yung produkto. Nung kumalat, mas nasira siya.
Yeah.
Right? So always make sure, what I call brilliant basics. Dapat ang basic ng company, whatever product or service that they're offering, that should be sound. It should be tested, well accepted by the market, right? Operationally maayos, yung supply chain, yung operational chain, pag manufacture maayos, then use technology. Talagang tatakbo ka.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. AI is not a threat, but it's also a way of productivity or productivity body sa mga companies, no. So pivot naman tayo kasi you've built so many milestones in your career, created different organizations, communities, even part of a very well-known company. Now, here in JCI Manila, diba, we're also part of this organization. You were part of the executive board back in 2011 as the executive treasurer. But in your overall career as a JCI Manila member, ano yung naging contribution niya sa professional career mo?
Malaki sobra. I think I would attribute a lot of where I am right now with JCI Manila training. I always say, JCI Manila, of course, we have great pride in being part of JCI Manila, no?
Yes.
Which I still believe is still one of the best chapters in the world, not only in the Philippines. And ba yung training I think I would always tell people, pag nag-JCI Manila ka and you become very active and hopefully you become a director, a chairman and a director, that's already almost equal to a master's. Parang MBA program na rin yan, no? Kasi iba yung training. At the same time, JCI Manila is all about the network. So you meet friends here. A lot of my businesses is because I have partners coming from JCI Manila. So a lot of my business are with JCI Manila brothers, no? So I think I always say, in your corporate career or even your personal and professional growth, right? It's never about just the job, right? But it's also what is more important is really your network. Because your network is not only yung kasama mo dahil may gimmick kayo, hindi siya ganun eh. At JCI kasi is the one that really trains you because the network, you together look at opportunities. Ay, okay to, sama tayo, gawin nating negosyo to. Right? So you look at opportunities, you look at tech, you get trained together. So it's a real brotherhood. Kaya that's why, for me, JCI Manila training is very, it's very much inculcated in me. Whenever I set up organizations, whenever I do, I set up companies, or whatever in my professional work, the discipline, it's all because of JCI Manila training.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, kasi diba, we're doing everything in JCI Manila out of free will. We're not being paid, diba?
Yep.
We're doing this as a volunteerism and an expression of our passion. And we will not be here if hindi siya worth ng time natin, diba? But, and you mentioned also that your almost 18 na son will be part of the JCI.
Yes. Hopefully. I will not force him, but I will encourage him. No?
Yes, definitely. So as part of the Built Different podcast, we play a little bit of a game with our guest, okay? So for this guest, we're going to ask Sir Donald a couple of questions, and you just have to answer it. Just a bit of an explanation lang naman about the topic that we discussed earlier. No? Okay, so question number 1. About digital marketing, if you could only use one social media platform for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why?
Social media. So, hindi ako ma-social media, but again, I grew up in the time of Pinoy Exchange and Yahoo Messenger, right? So, very basic yun, no? But I think right now, I'm very much using LinkedIn because of my work. So, it's really a lot of LinkedIn, and you don't talk about personal stuff there. It's really business and all about connections. And I think every person in business and in corporate should be on LinkedIn right now.
Okay. If you could teach AI just one human emotion, which would it be and why?
I always say, it might be very cliche. But the strongest emotion is always love. Not the romantic love. But really yung compassion, real compassion, and real care,
empathy,
which is what we are lacking. I don't know kung pwede ko bahabaan. I'm with the Air Force, and one of the things I always advocate, because I'm for mandatory ROTC, because during our time it was ROTC. And why the Philippines, for me, why are we not improving as a nation? It's because we do not love our country. I will say that already with confidence. You will see, maraming nag-rally, maraming sinasabi sa social media. Sabi ko, maraming galit sa China dahil may West Philippine Sea. Sabi ko na sa'yo, pag sumugod ang China, tingnan natin kung lalaban kayo, lahat magtatago. Right? So, I think, if you look at why countries are very strong, it's because they really love it. Look at Korea, yung mga strong country, Korea, you look at Japan, they really love their country. And sabi ko, and love comes from the small things. Love comes from the small things. If, for example, every Filipino will not, let's say, yung mga nagtapon ng pupulutin niya, ilalagay sa basura, kung lahat ng Filipinos ganun, malakas tayo. But because we do not love our country and we do not care, at hinahayaan natin lahat because we're busy and we're doing our own way and doing whatever, walang mangyari sa atin.
Right.
Yung small things na pwede natin itulong sa city natin, sa bansa natin, pag nangyari yun, malakas tayo. Hindi pa natin nagagawa.
It also comes with the discipline.
Yeah. So that's why AI, if AI knows how to love, humans will cease to exist.
Right. Very well said. One last question. If your life were an ABS-CBN teleserye or a game show, what would its title be and why?
Mahirap yan. Siguro, I don't know, baka
kahit yung existing na game show na lang.
Hindi. Gagamitin ko na lang Batang Binondo.
Oh!
Because that's my route eh.
Okay.
Even if, well, of course, I live here in Manila, but every weekend, I still go to Binondo because that's where my mom lives. And, sometimes people say, hanggang up to now, every Sunday, I would go there. And why would I go there? Kasi siya lang yung sumasermon sa akin eh. Right? And sabi ko, it grounds me eh. Minsan sabi niya, ba't tanga-tanga mo, ganyan. Kung ano, magkukwento ako, di ba? So, hindi ka nag-iisip, di ba? But, sabi ko, no matter, a tree, no matter how high you grow, you only live because you have roots.
Yes.
You remove that roots and you will fall.
Yes.
So, always, di ba, sabi ko, kailangan lumingon ka sa kung saan ka pinanggalingan, right? And I think that's so important, to be rooted in, what brings you to who you are. People think sometimes if you fly too high, na kaya mo na, hindi ganun yun eh. You will never, the umbilical cord to the invisible umbilical cord is always there.
Right.
And kung tinanggal mo yon, then gaganon ka, you will wander aimlessly.
Yes.
Lumilipad ka nga pero di mo na alam.
I strongly agree. With that, Mr. Donald Lim, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope kayo mga listeners, you've learned so much about marketing, about AI, about, everything that concerns how you can progress your career and be a huge contributor in our country and in our industry. And with that, thank you for watching our Built Different podcast, and we will see you on our next episode.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, Ugreen Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.